Good day, students, and welcome to the Department of General Studies at the International University of Languages here in the city of Sokoto, Nigeria. And this is GST 111, at the same time ENG 021, English Made Easy. And I am the course tutor, Halil Ibrahim Kidada. And today, by the grace of God, we shall be looking at a number of important issues in the course. First of all, we're going to look at three things today. We should try to understand how do we write a speech about ourselves. It is always important that at times with that number we attend to occasions, functions and things like that where we might be required to write a speech about ourselves. So we don't just go there and make a speech, rather we have to write the speech before delivering the speech. So any speech you see, it doesn't come out just like that without preparations, especially if it is a written speech. So today we shall be looking about how to write a speech that tells about yourself as the person. And at the same time, we shall be learning about conversation in English. Conversation in English. And then the last but not the least will be what's that matter in English language. And we'll begin with writing a speech about yourself. We all know what a speech is. Any kind of presentation of ideas or information or knowledge that an individual will stand before the audience and deliver. That is, of course, a speech. And we have different kinds of speeches that we have in the literature. And in English in particular, we have about 4 types of speeches. But we are much concentrating now about the written speech. That's what we call an impromptu speech, where you might be asked to stand up and make a presentation without prior planning, without preparation. And sometimes maybe somebody who is invited in an occasion happens or failed to show up. In that case, maybe you might be contacted to come and say 1 or 2 things as an improvisation, and without even knowledge that you're going to talk at the event. So that is an impromptu speech. An impromptu speech is usually very brief, very short, and it comes out of memory, something that you just create at the moment you stand and deliver. So that is an impromptu speech, and that's the first type of speech writing or speech that we make. Second type of speech we call is extemporaneous. Extemporaneous speech. Extemporaneous speech. Yes, it's similar to the impromptu speech, but unlike impromptu speech, it might be a bit longer. And sometimes we make extemporaneous speeches because we are much aware about that. Take, for example, as a student of International University of Languages, you go to a function where people want to know about the International University of Languages, and somebody just cited you and said, oh yeah, that is a student of International University of Languages. So please, can you come forward and tell us more about the International University of Languages? This is an extemporaneous speech, not an impromptu speech. An impromptu is something that they may ask you whether you are aware about it, whether you have knowledge about it or not. For example, they will just ask you a question in the case of impromptu. Imagine you are the governor of your state. What 3 most important things can you do for your people? Are you going to do for your people? You see, it's something that you can just have to think and say something about. But in the case of extemporaneous speech, it's something that you might be very much aware about, but you're not ready or prepared to say something about it. So the extemporaneous speech also come out of memory. You will just think about your university, the number of departments that are there, the way the university operates, the kind of courses they offer, how to get admission, how to pass examinations, how to achieve minimum requirement and things like that. And apart from the extemporaneous speech, which is the second type of speech apart from the impromptu speech, we have the third one, which we call memorized speech. Before we even say memorized speech, we said manuscript speech. Manuscript, something that has to do with papers. You write down the speech, on paper. So this is what we are talking about. Writing a speech about yourself. We're not talking about impromptu speech. Yeah, if somebody asks you to just talk to us about yourself and without you preparing, it's extemporaneous, because it's something about yourself that you have knowledge about, that you can talk about also. But in the event you want to talk to other people in a formal setting, you want to write a speech about yourself, you have to actually follow certain steps, and that is why we said we would learn about writing a speech about ourselves. The last item or last type of speech that we have in the literature is the one we call the memorized speech. You see, at the first instance we have the impromptu speech. Sometimes you will be asked to say one or two things, even though you might not be prepared. At that moment you think about it and you say it. And then again we have the extemporaneous, where you might be asked to say one or two things about something that they knew you are familiar about. And the manuscript speech is the one that we write, just like the ones we know. We write the speech, and then we have to sit down, we prepare the speech, we plan the speech, and then we also make sure we are very much confident with how to deliver the speech. We have to follow this. And when we make preparations, there are things we do. When we plan the speech, there are things we do. And when we come to delivering the speech, there are also some important things we do. That's our interest today. But I'm just giving you a kind of an insight into what a speech is, since we already know what a speech is. Any kind of information, knowledge, or observation, or opinion, or point of view that you feel you want to share with a larger audience, that is a speech. Whether you are making an impromptu, they ask you to come and say one or two things. Whether you are seen to be maybe a student of international university, or somebody who is a medical doctor, and they want you to come and say one or two things to the members here about steps to follow in order to get protected, preventing this COVID-19 disease and things like that. A lot of things about the extemporaneous speech. And the manuscript speech is the one that we'll be talking about very shortly now, and let's just see how we actually go ahead writing it. The last one is memorized speech. So you see, just like the manuscript speech, where you sit down, you prepare the speech, you plan the speech, and how to deliver. Everything is put on paper, pen and paper. Yes, but in the case of memorized speech, you put all the things well arranged. Manuscript speech is usually long, yes, unlike extemporaneous and impromptu. The same thing, the memorized speech also is sometimes long also, just like the manuscript speech. You have to write the speech, you memorize the key important elements that you want to discuss with your audience, and in that way you come with a holding papers and you talk out of memory. Yes, good morning or good day, ladies and gentlemen, and you begin to tell your name, and you begin to identify certain achievements that you are able to record about as part of your life, and a lot of things like that you will do as a person. So these are just the 4 types of speeches. So we're concentrating on the written speech, which we call the manuscript speech, because somebody will ask you, what type of speech is this? Is it all the speeches we make, we have to write them now? We have to plan, we have to prepare, we have to deliver? No, only the 2 kinds of speeches that we said. The manuscript speech, which we said has to involve writing, and then the memorized speech. If you like, after writing your speech, you memorize it, and you go to the stage, you stand and you deliver without necessarily holding papers on your hand. Most leaders of developed nations prefer to use memorized speeches. Then, as I said, we'll be talking about this writing a speech about yourself. Yourself. Is there any person that knows you better than yourself? You ask this question. You ask yourself this question. Why? I think I know you better than yourself, because you are you, I can see you. Yeah, you have been in the class, I'm talking to you, you are listening to me. Does that make me know better than you yourself? No, it doesn't make me better to know you better than yourself. So you're the first person, the number 1 person to know yourself better. So in this sense, it's important that you actually know yourself very well. So you want to write your speech about yourself. How do you do that? Because maybe we might be using this as part of exercise, and I would like you to actually write the speech. You show me how you prepare the speech, you show me how you plan the speech, and how you also deliver the speech. So when you want to write a speech about yourself, the first thing you do is prepare your speech. How do you prepare your speech? That is the most important thing. Then the next thing After preparing the speech, then the next thing is planning your speech, and then the next thing is delivering. So preparing even before writing, there are things that you do before you actually go ahead. So when preparing your speech, which is A, this is number one to show you that we're talking about writing a speech about yourself. That's number one. And under this number one, we're talking about three things: preparing your speech, planning your speech, and delivering your speech. Three items. Then A here stands for this: preparing your speech. So it means under preparing your speech, which is under writing a speech about yourself, we have make an outline, we have mention hobbies, we have sell yourself, and then the last one, set yourself apart from your peers. We'll discuss this in detail. Set yourself apart from your peers. All right. How do you make an outline? We want to write a speech, and the first thing they said is to make an outline. An outline is nothing but a draft. A draft, how you will put the ideas down. You begin, you start to actually write down your speech. Everything has to have a beginning, and speech also has to have a beginning. So if you want to actually make an outline, a kind of sketch, sketch. How would the speech look like? You ask yourself a question. So the first thing that we said, if you want to do that, you're making a skeletal draft of your main points, strip the speech down to its bare bones and determine what is most important to say. You have to know what is most important to say. But to cut the story short, to make an outline, there are key important things that you are required to do. The first thing has to do with your name. Begin you open your speech by identifying your name. They said state your name in the very first sentence of your speech. That's an important thing. My name is Haliru Ibrahim, and I am the course tutor for English Made Easy at the Department of General Studies, International University of Languages. People say, yes, that's Malam. For example, if you want to say Amada in-house, you say, that's sir, he took English Made Easy. People will say, so he is the one that took English Made Easy. So you see that from the beginning, your audience are begin to get interested in who you are when you actually begin to prepare your speech. So you have to start by mentioning or stating your name. The next one is you want to mention your education. Yes, or professional training or background. Yes, you have to do that because people would like to know who you are. Well, as you see me, last year I completed my nursery school. I was at the kindergarten, then now I am done with my primary school, and next year I'm joining secondary school. Wow, that's some sort of achievements. I know some of you say, wow, nursery, kindergarten, I'm fast that. Well, it's good for you. It means you're big. You're trying to do better. Now you're at the university. That's wonderful. And you just need to thank God for that. And you need to put a lot of effort. You need to put a lot of dedication and commitment to make sure that what you come here to do is actually achieve successfully. So making an outline, we said you begin by mentioning your name at the very first sentence of your speech. And then the next thing is to be able to, as I said, mention certain educational achievement of yours. Yes, I am a student at the International University of Languages studying biochemistry, or studying computer science, or studying fiqh, or studying Islamic sciences, and a lot of things like that. People will be very much happy and appreciative of who you are. Yes, so that's just that. And imagine you are making a speech before people that will give you job. Wow. They'll be very much interested to hear a lot about your educational background. I'm a very hard worker, and I went to nursery school, and after finishing nursery school, I went to primary school, I went to secondary school, and I'm now at the International University of Languages pursuing my degree program, and very soon, by the grace of God, I will be done with the program. See, you're trying to establish that. And you have to do it. They said, this is the 5th second program I'm undergoing. Wow, I mentioned something like that. My second program, which have basis of Arabic language, won a scholarship award to study in this IO and things like that. So, making an outline is very simple. Begin with your name, identify certain achievement, educational background of yours. That shows that. Then the second item said mention hobbies. You know what we call hobbies. Somebody said hobbies, hobbies, hobbies. So it's like thinking, what is hobbies? It's very simple to know hobbies. Things that we do at our leisure time. You don't have anything to do. Do you just sleep? If sleeping is what you do when you don't have anything to do, that is your hobby. And if you're a lady, wow, you're not going to get a husband, because a husband will say, well, she sleeps when she doesn't do anything. Well, I'm not going to, marry her, things like that. So don't mention sleeping as part of your hobby. You need to do something better. Some people, if they don't have anything to do, they just bring out a pen and paper and they write short stories. Like me, that's my hobby.